if you can, make sure you try to stay back that way, especially when you're walking in.
Do what?
When they're coming in, try to keep your head back that way because you're getting right in that shot if you're looking in.
Well,
About 6 minutes or 5 minutes.
it's just a splash.
I think I'll turn it on the third person or anything. Get a couple of them in there and then have
I'm not gonna remember what you're gonna do.
Okay.
You just listen and just make sure what you're getting is a good shot. As they're coming in, just figure out who you're gonna follow. Keep them in the middle.
Third person.
Follow them all the way down. Put their head right in there.
Can you zoom
A
in?
little closer to the top.
Can you zoom in as they're walking down to it?
Very light zooming. You probably don't have to zoom in. And immediately change your shot whenever all you see is the back of the head. You shouldn't be that close. Yeah. Maybe, like, see how you're just going left and right like that? 10 seconds here, and then a 10-second pan or follows back. Pan down a little bit. There you go. That's good.
They're walking them around now, so in about a couple of minutes we'll be ready.
Sweet. Derek, center your shot a little bit more. Go to the left. Are you all the way zoomed in? Okay. Go all the way. There we go. That's the shot. We're close. You could probably pan down a little bit. His mouth is going to be right on the microphone. You want his head. There we go. That's perfect. Keep it right there. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sayre, Oklahoma. You're watching SWOSU grad livestream on HOLYCLAPtv. I'm Dustin Tate and will be producing tonight's broadcast. HOLYCLAPtv is a Western Oklahoma livestream network. Like HOLYCLAPtv on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and upload pictures with the hashtag SWOSU Grad Livestream. Thanks for watching HOLYCLAPtv, and the students are on their way.
Would you please rise for the graduates?
Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, we do come to you tonight, Lord. We thank you for your many blessings, God. We thank you for this, the strength and energy you've given these students, Lord, to make it through this time. Lord, thank you for these family and friends that have come and gathered to celebrate, but Lord, also, Lord, for the sacrifices they've made, Lord, through this time. Lord, I pray, God, you just continue to bless these students, Lord, and all that they do. In your name I pray. Amen.
Be seated. Good evening. Welcome. My name is Sharon Manning, and I'm the Dean of the SWOSU Sayre campus. Thank you for choosing to attend tonight's festivities as we celebrate the achievements of our graduates. At this time, I'd like to introduce the administration from SWOSU Weatherford campus who have joined us here tonight. On my far right, the president of Southwestern Oklahoma State University, Dr. Randy Butler, Dr. James South, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Ruth Boyd, Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Monica Varner, Associate Provost, Dr. Chad Kinder, Dean of College of Professional and Graduate Studies, Dr. David Ralph, Dean of the College of Pharmacy, Dr. Peter Grant, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Benny Lockler, Beckham Mills Baptist Association Director, and our speaker for this evening, Dr. Treva Graham. Dr. Treva Graham graduated as valedictorian of her class from Sentinel High School in 1971. She earned a Bachelor of Science in Education from the University of Central Oklahoma in 1975, summa cum laude, a Master of Education in Library Media Education from Southwestern Oklahoma State University in 1994, and a Doctor of Medicine from the University of Oklahoma College of Medicine in 1999. She completed her residency with the OU Family Medicine program in 1992. She taught high school and junior high life sciences at Sayre from 1976 to 1982, worked as a Department of Human Services caseworker in Beckham County for 1 year, and taught high school and junior high life sciences at Elk City from 1986 to 1995. She is currently the medical director at Clinton VA Center 4 days a week and owner of Graham Medical Clinic here in Sayre. She practices 2 days a week. She was formerly employed as a physician at Sayre Memorial Hospital from July 2002 through June 2012. She also maintains privileges at Great Plains Regional Medical Center in Elk City and hopefully soon to be open Sayre Community Hospital. She's a member of the AMA, OSMA, AAFP, and OAFP professional organizations. Treva is also a member of the Beckham County Health Department Board, the CASA Board for Western Oklahoma, the PEO in Sayre, and past member of Beckham Roger Mills Abuse Task Force Team. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Treva Graham.
Well, let me situate my phone that's glued to my hip all the time. Get that ready. Good evening, graduates. Congratulations on obtaining these degrees. This is wonderful. It's a joyous occasion, and I know that all of your families are excited to celebrate with you. I know you're anxious to get out of here, and my speech is a little bit of a speed bump in the night, so we'll try to make it short and sweet. Now, all of you have heard that I used to teach school before going to medical school, and I did, 15 years. 15 years of having kids just like these in class who did not want to be there to listen to me. They were there to visit with their friends. That was the whole point of being there. And I knew that. But I know you probably are a little more mature, and you're probably a little more able to kind of stick with the program, and you know more about what an education is now. You know, but really and truly, what is the best education that we get? It is from your parents and your grandparents. The best education you can get is to look at them and see what they have done with their lives and try to emulate what they have done with their lives, because they have stayed the course, they have finished the task, they've done their job, they've gone to work every day, they've paid their taxes, and they have done what it took to get you here. So you need to really and truly pay attention to what they have shown you by their example. So my advice to you is to pay attention to your parents and your grandparents. You need to be listening to them. I was raised by a World War II veteran who was in the European theater, and he came back after he had been over there in the Battle of the Bulge. You've all heard about the Battle of the Bulge in the history books. My dad was part of the Battle of the Bulge. He went across Germany. He was actually at the border of Czechoslovakia on the day that the war ended. I've heard that story before. And he earned a Silver Star, which is right below the Medal of Honor. He earned a Bronze Star. He earned 2 Purple Hearts for being wounded in battle. And then he was there for another year in Europe and helped to redo the land of Germany to get it ready to be, functional again after the war was over. He actually got to go to the Nuremberg trials and watch some of I think Goering is who he was there to see, the day that one of the days Goering was being tried. So he moved up through the ranks, became a captain in the infantry, and then came back home and started farming. Married his sweetheart, bought a farm, started raising cattle and kids, and just went to work. He was a high school graduate, but he wanted all of his kids to go to college. So everyone had the opportunity to go to college. Regardless, he would pay your tuition, he would pay your books, he wanted to make sure that you went to college. And I'm sure some of your parents have done the same thing for you, have tried to make sure that you got to go. He made sure that we went to church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. And you better be bleeding, vomiting, or have diarrhea if you thought you were going to get to stay home, because you were not staying home if Ralph Freeman had his way. You would be at church. We didn't get to go to the store and buy a dress because he wanted us to learn how to sew. So he would tell my mom, you can go to the store and you can buy all of the material they want to make. You can buy the best patterns, you can buy whatever you want, but they are going to learn how to sew. So my sisters and I both all learned how to sew. We had to chop cotton in the summer. I don't know if you know what chopping cotton is, because probably nobody here knows how to do that if you're below the age of 20. But chopping cotton is where you get a hoe and you walk up and down those rows and you chop out the weeds. You leave the cotton, don't chop the cotton, leave the cotton, chop out the weeds. And it's a miserable job. And I got to do that every summer I was growing up, and I hated every step I had to go up and down that. But it taught me that you had to do a job. There was no getting out of it. You just had to do it. It wasn't an option. When I was 16 years old and I got my driver's license, I didn't get a new car. I occasionally got to borrow my mom's old Buick and drive it to school, because he always thought you had to have a heavy, big car, because then if you went into the ditch, you wouldn't turn over, you know. So being the farmer that he was, you had to have a heavy car. So anyway, that was my upbringing, strict and to the point. Now, I thought my parents were idiots when I was 17. I actually one time made a list of things that I would never make my kids do. And then I got to be 21 and I realized they were geniuses, and I wish I still had that list. I don't remember all the things that was on it, but I'm sure it was just stupidity. But the thoughts that I have for you tonight, to hopefully help you become more of a success at whatever you do, are based on common sense ideas that I was raised with by that World War II veteran. Some of these are direct quotes from my dad, Ralph Freeman, Ralphisms, I guess I could call them, who passed away at the ripe old age of 92 and a half last year, after seeing his children and grandchildren go to school, go to college, stay out of jail, not get on drugs, and become tax-paying citizens who were responsible adults. You know, we have all got to contribute in this world. And if there's one thing you need to do, it's contribute to society. So we all have to be part of this big big society that's in America. And I found out, that there's sometimes you don't really want to do everything that you want to do. When I started med school at the age of 41, that was really probably not the brightest thing I've ever done. But I had this thing in my mind that I had to go to med school. And so I applied. I decided they weren't going to come get me. I was going to apply. So I applied. And then they were crazy enough to take me. And so I went to medical school. But it was hard, and there were times where you had things that you didn't want to do, and there were rotations that were hard, and there was weeks where you just thought, I cannot make it through this week. But then you decide, well, if I can make it through another day, if I can make it through another few days of this, it'll be okay, and then I'll go on to something else. And that's what you have to do when you come to tough things. You just got to stick it out. Stick with it. All right, so now, all of you who I taught in school would remember this. I would have said, get out your notebooks and we're going to take notes. So here's a few things I want you to remember. Number one, do not seek perfection. There is no perfect job. There is no perfect job in this world. If you think there's a perfect job out there, you are wrong. So wrong, it's unreal. And there's no perfect boss. If you think that there's a perfect boss out there, I would like to see it, because everyone's human and everyone is self-absorbed at times and they're blind to other people's problems and they are stressed. So give them a break and usually they'll be fine. And if you think that your boss is always bad, then it's probably you, not the boss. Don't you imagine? If you're always finding a bad boss, it's probably not the boss. And there are no perfect cars. Have you noticed all the advertisements on TV? They're all perfect. So which one is the perfect car? They don't exist. And there's no perfect towns to live in. Every town has its good area of town and its bad area of town. And the one that the real estate person tells you to buy in and the one that the real estate person tells you don't buy. And yet that might be a great neighborhood, because it might be a real established neighborhood that's full of people that have lived their lives and are good, productive members of society. And there's no perfect house in that town. Watch HGTV. Have you seen all the things you can get in a house? Oh my God. If you can get everything that you want in that house, you will not be able to afford it. I guarantee you, you will not be able to afford it. It is totally out of your league if you get everything that you want. And there's no perfect country. The U.S. may have a president you don't like, but I personally do not want to go live in another country. I do not want to live with bombs dropping on my head. So God bless the USA. And there's no perfect time to get an education. As I showed you, you can go back to school when you're older. It's a little tougher. It's like your brain is full. And this computer is so full that it needs to be defragged and cleaned out and then start over. And you can't do it. So you just have to keep cramming information into little crevices and cracks. And all you computer people know what I'm talking about. But there is no perfect time to start. And even if you're a late starter, you can do it. If you're an early starter, you're anxious. You want to get out there and get a job. If you're a late starter, you got bills to pay. And you got kids to raise. And you have things to do. So get out there and get a job and decide it's okay. And don't think that getting $1 extra an hour is going to make up for benefits. Because benefits are a huge thing, and you need to think about that when you go look for a job. Because over at the VA center, sometimes the nurses don't make as much over there as they would make at another place, but they get insurance. You ever heard about a health insurance? You know how much that crap costs now? It's like $600 for my son that's 32 and is healthy. $600 a month. His health insurance went up to just this year. So if you got a job with insurance, you better covet that sucker, because it is worth a bunch. You better take advantage of it. So now my next thing is number 2. How do you treat people? When you get out there and you get into a job, treat people the way you would want to be treated. Treat them the way you want your mother treated, or your dad treated, or your granddad, or your grandma treated. If you go in there to draw blood, think about it. Is this my mother? And if she tells me that I can't have blood drawn on my right arm, you've got to do it on my left arm, then for God's sake, take it out of her left arm. because she knows what she's talking about. And use a little butterfly needle. Use that little bitty one because it hurts like the dickens. So do what they tell you to. And if they tell you, I can't stand up because I'm just too tired, then try to do some way, do that x-ray sitting down. I don't know. You guys will figure it out. Because you've got to do what's good for the patient, for the people. We have a lot of people, too, that we need to recognize and think about. There are no unnecessary people in our society. Everybody has a role. And I want someone to be there to stock the shelves, and I want somebody to be there to check me out, and I want somebody to be there to clean the streets, and somebody to fix the roads, and I want someone to run the water plant, and I can't do those things. And you probably can't do all of them either. You may be a jack of all trades, but I bet you're not that big of a jack of all trades. So if you have someone that you see that may be doing what you consider a menial job, respect them, because there is no job that's unneeded in our society. We have to have all of us working together. We not all be lawyers like David Brooks or doctors like me. The society would collapse if we were all doctors and lawyers. We can't have it. So we got to have people that do everything. We got to have somebody that works at the city of Elk City or the city of Sayre. We got to have somebody that does all of these different jobs. And you have to respect that person for what they do. And all people like to be talked to by looking in your face. They don't want to be talked to by you looking at their shoes. And you better not be looking at their shoes to figure out what brand they are either, because that's irrelevant. And treat people just the way you want to be treated. You know, I work at the VA Center at Clinton. We get a variety of people in there. We got some guys that are drunks, and they're there because their family can't stand them anymore. They absolutely have worn their welcome out. And we got some that are movers and shakers, and were the guys who ran society in their town. My dad was there last year, and he showed people that you can be in a VA center and be welcoming and kind to people, and the workers loved him because he was always nice to them. He wasn't cussing at them and, you know, throwing stuff at them when he got mad at them or something. But we get all kinds there. And so we have to have the love for those veterans to say, you know, I don't care how you are now. I know you may have dementia and you may not remember how to eat, and we're having to feed you and we're having to change you and we're having to do all these things for you, but you defended our country. And so you deserve to be taken care of. And so that's what we do at those veteran centers. And we try to treat all of them as though they were very, very important. And I know the veteran centers are kind of under the spotlight at some of these veteran centers, and they've had trouble but at some of them with different things happening, but you cannot prevent all these things from happening at a nursing home. You show me a nursing home that doesn't have a fall in this United States, and it's not a real nursing home, because things happen like that. So when you see that stuff in the newspaper, take it with a grain of salt. Those people at those centers are trying their best, just like they are at every nursing home around here. They're trying to keep those people as safe as they can. But we try to treat them as good as we can. They have a deal over there where we put their picture when they were young up on the door right next to their current picture, and you can see how they used to look. And it's absolutely amazing to see, because you see this person who was this young, healthy, handsome guy who now looks like, you know, me. I don't know. He looks old. And he looks like, you know, he's got wrinkles and he's gray-headed and he's got a, you know, he's just not as handsome as he used to be. But you look at what he used to be, and these were the guys that were movers and shakers. And we will be there someday. We're all aging as we stand here and speak. So it takes a certain kind of graciousness on their part to accept the care of those young people who come in there and change their diapers and feed them and do things for them. It takes a certain kind of person to just be gracious about that. And so those veterans who are over there, and any of these people at any of the nursing homes, are having to be kind, actually kind, to allow the workers to do what they have to do. And not all of them are. Some of them are mean. I mean, we have some of the guys over there that are just not very kind. They're not all perfect. Just like there's no perfect house, and there's no perfect anything, there's no perfect this, there's no perfect that, there's no perfect nursing home patient either. And pay attention to the little kids around you. Those little kids are such a joy. They see the joy in stuff. They love things. They love to learn, and they're such fun to be around. And they kind of bring back the joy to life. That's why as grandparents, we love to have the grandkids around because we have time to just see the joy in what they do. The parents are too busy trying to make them behave. They're like embarrassed if they do something crazy, and we think it's funny. We're just like, oh, well, isn't that cute? He just spit on your shoe, isn't that cute? I mean, we think it's funny. And then if you really want to be nice to somebody, give them a cut in line. Go to Walmart and give somebody a cut in line. If you've got one thing or you've got a whole basket full of stuff and somebody's behind you and they've got 3 things, wouldn't it be nice to just let that person with 3 things go ahead of you? Wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't the world just be a little bit better place, a little happier place if we just let everybody take a cut in line? Just like some of these people buy something for the person behind them in line at the Sonic or something. Sometimes you hear about people doing that. It just kind of makes your day a little happier. And remember too, and I love this part because I was not the star in high school. Yes, I was the valedictorian, but it's Sentinel, Oklahoma. How many people are there? There's 30 in your class. Somebody's got to be valedictorian. So, yeah, the person with the best grades gets to be valedictorian. That doesn't mean you're brilliant, but I did get to be valedictorian for whatever that means. But I wasn't the popular cheerleader, the fancy the girl that was out back smoking, I was like, my dad was making me go to church. So, but it's kind of nice now to go back to alumni and go, how are things? It's kind of fun. You might get to do that someday. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Get to go back and go, I'm the professor. Yeah. What do you like? How do you like that now? And then, third thing, be good to yourself. Do some good things for yourself. Park at the back of the parking lot and walk into the store, for God's sake. You don't have to get the closest thing up, and you sure as well don't have to steal that handicap spot. Park at the back and walk a little ways. It'll be good for you. Eat some vegetables that are fresh or frozen. Get more exercise several times a week. And I should say that here. I needed to lose 10 pounds before I got up here. But, get some exercise. It'll be good for you. Keep your teeth in good shape. Have you ever seen a CEO of a big company with rotten teeth? Haven't seen a one. Get those teeth fixed. For God's sake, help us all. It's a whole lot cheaper to pay for dental care than a new car, probably. So get those teeth fixed and make it to where people don't mind looking at you. And it's literally a difference between a job sometimes. It's really a difference in a job. If you have rotten meth teeth person come in to apply for a job, or you have a person with regular teeth, who are you going to hire? You're going to hire the person that has good teeth. End of story. It's the truth. I'm just telling you some common sense things here. It's going to help you in life, okay? This is going to help you. You're going to be more successful if you take this to heart. Eat lighter. Drink less alcohol. Now, you may be going out tonight to get a little of that in you, but be careful. And take a vacation. I'm not real good at this now. I'm not good at taking vacations. But some people actually take mental health days and take a day off and just relax. And that might be a good thing to do, because working all the time is just going to make for misery. If you don't smoke, don't start. And if you do smoke, try to quit. At least cut back. And if you dip, it's not very romantic. Sorry, boys. You can't please everybody or be everybody's friend, so don't stress over it. Make good financial decisions. Your parents will not, and I got this directly. I asked there's some guys that sit at the Elk City Hospital and drink coffee every morning, and when I'm going through there, sometimes I stop and chit-chat with them. And one of them, I said, you got any words of advice to give to the graduates? And one of the guys said, tell them not to rely on their parents to be there forever to bail them out financially, because they're not going to always be there. True. They're not. And then another one said, tell them to be 5 minutes early instead of 5 minutes late. Good sense. Good advice. If you get there early, you're always going to be on top of your game. And another one said, to save some money out of every paycheck and quit asking your parents for loans. He might have had a little experience on that, I don't know. Don't get a bunch of credit cards. If you have credit cards, try to pay them off. And if you don't have credit cards, don't get a bunch of them. Because that is nothing but a slow trip to hell. Because you are going to be in debt up to here with high interest rates. Because those credit cards are making money off of you. And they do not care if you run up a big bill as long as you're continuing to make payments. Because they're making it off of that interest. That's what they want. They want you to just keep on putting it on there. And if you get a chance, buy a used car instead of a brand new one. Because that brand new one's going to depreciate the minute you run it off of that. Hope there's not any car salesman here. The minute you leave that lot, that car is depreciated. That's why my dad always went to like Wichita Falls or some place and bought a used Oldsmobile or Buick or something. He'd come home with this tank of a car that we were embarrassed to even go any place in almost. But it would have air conditioning and it would be heavy and wouldn't run off the road. And so he always did that. And probably it served him well. It was probably a good thing. He probably should have done that because he took care of business. But if you figure it out, even if you get free interest rates, do you know how much a $30,000 car is going to cost you for 4 years? $625 a month. $625 a month for that car that if you could get it free of interest. You still got to pay it off. You don't get it for free. They're not going to give it to you. So think about that when you're trying to decide, do I want a new car or do I want that used $2,500 car? Because that $2,500 car will probably get you there just like that $30,000 car will. And how many people do you see that buy these cars that are $70,000 or $50,000? They're out there. They're everywhere. So be careful because you're going to get yourself in over your head. So stay within your means, whether it's rent or purchasing a house or whatever. And for goodness sake, appreciate your parents and your grandparents because they will not be here always. I know because my dad is deceased. My mother's still alive. She's in the nursing home, but she is still alive. So I get to have another Mother's Day with her, hopefully. But it won't be forever. She's 93. So I know that's not going to last. There is not one single thing that you can change if there's a car wreck and somebody's killed. You cannot bring them back. So spend time with these people now. There's no family member that I've ever seen at the VA or at the hospital or anywhere that said, that fly loves me, that says, oh, I went there too many times. I just went to see Dad too many times. Have you ever heard that? I have never in my life heard that. They always say, oh, I meant to come, or oh, I intended to go. I was going to go see Dad. I meant to. Yeah, well, I was just so busy going to soccer games and, all this stuff. And my last little word of advice for you is, for God's sake, stay off of Facebook. I do not want to know the details of your divorce. I do not want to know about the details of your breakup, and I don't want to know about your child's bowel movements. So stay off of Facebook with all those details. We don't need them. If you want to put a picture of your kid on there when they're in a recital, I'm all for it. But I do not need the details of everything torrid going on in your life. And all it does is come back to haunt you eventually. Somebody's going to find that. It might be a potential employer. It might be your friend. It might be your relatives. I don't know. But stay off of Facebook. I am so tired of reading stuff on there. Well, I'm on Facebook, but I'm not putting stuff on there. And there will be somebody that will encourage you to do this. They will try to get you to put more details, more details, more details. They'll encourage you. Don't do it because you can't take it back. Somebody's going to have seen it and probably took a screenshot of it. And then you're dead. One last thing my dad told me, and I have always kind of thought this is pretty good saying. This is a Ralphism. When you tell everyone your business, pretty soon you don't have a business. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Graham. Would the candidates please rise? Dr. Butler, these candidates for the associate's degrees have completed the requirements for the degree prescribed by the state of Oklahoma, the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education, and Southwestern Oklahoma State University. These degrees include Associate in Science and Associate in Applied Science in various fields of study.
By the power vested in me as president of Southwestern Oklahoma State University, I now confer the appropriate degree.
Ashley Michelle Hart. Lauren Nicole Jones, cum laude, who's who. Kirsten Cheyenne Lucas. Amanda Williams Brown. JC Bollinger. Social Fabiola Marquez Rodriguez, who's who. Tristan Kaylee Davis. Samantha Brooke Barnett, who's who. Megan E. Barnett, who's who. David J. Barnett II, cum laude. Alyssa Heidi Davis. Isaac Charles Shepard. Destry S. Webb, cum laude, who's who. Paul Theodore Gieswein, who's who. Jordan Kayla Huff. Curtis Donald Clark, summa cum laude, who's who. Kelsey Brianne White Hoffert. Opal Danae Sowell. Daniel Lee Essery, who's who. Kinsey Ann Hagler. Kylie Joe Cahoy, who's who. Bailey Rochelle Doherty, cum laude, who's who. Jesse Spears. Lisa M. Stepp. Angie Welch. Haley Joe Andrews. Ty Henry Normand, magna cum laude. Marquita Antoinette Sanders, cum laude, who's who. Jeannie Nicole Maddox. Rianne Lachey Jones, magna cum laude. Chelsea A. Herlocker. Lawanda Kirk. Brandy Dawn Sanders, magna cum laude, who's who. Morgan Rochelle Jones, summa cum laude, who's who. Sydney Michaela Street, who's who.
We will have a reception following the ceremony at the Baptist Collegiate Ministry in the northwest corner of the SWOSU Sayre campus. All family and friends are invited to come and celebrate with our graduates. We'll have refreshments and fellowship. So please join us. And would you please rise for the benediction?
Let's pray. Dear God, again, we come to you and thank you for this time of celebration here, God. Lord, we pray for these students, Lord, as they go out into the workforce or move on to their college careers, God. May you continue to guide and direct them. Lord, I pray they look to you for guidance and direction also, God, and trust you. But Lord, I pray also, Lord, again, Lord, for their futures, God, for their families. In your name I pray. Amen. Please be seated, and please remain seated until the graduates exit the building.
Great.